From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
Well, we've got a lot to unpack again here for today because we're going to be talking about several things. Number one, the fires. We're going to start with that. Then we're going to be talking about the potential for rain for us. And of course, that's all going to have to do with Hurricane Hillary, which is something we'll talk about as well. I want to start with the fires because that's obviously the biggest concern that we have here in Northern California. And of course for the North Coast in particular, because this is where most of the fires are. They're in Del Norte, Western Siskiyou County, Humboldt County, and Trinity County. This is where most of the fires have been and are continuing to be here. And this is something we have to watch closely. Now, there are a lot of aspects to talk about when it comes to the fires. Evacuation watches and warnings and different road closures. That's a moving target. That is constantly changing, as well as the acreages of these fires as well. So I could tell you about all of those here within these updates, but keep in mind I record these, and then so you watch them at your convenience. Those numbers and those evacuations are all going to change most likely, or there's a very good chance there will be a change as well. So the best thing for you to do is what I recommend is going to weathernorcal.com, go to the fire section, and then when you tap on the fire section, that'll take you to a page that has all kinds of great useful information. At the very top of that is the Watch Duty app. And you can click on any of the fires to get all of the latest information on that particular fire. Watches and warnings, road closures, acreage of the fire, the latest data coming in from that fire. That's what I highly recommend you do to kind of stay on top of those fires. What I can do here is give you the latest perimeters that we're seeing here since last night, and we can take a look at the distances they are from each particular community. Now keep in mind, this is just a general idea. These are not exact numbers. But for the deep fire, for example, in Trinity County, you can see the eastern fringe of that fire about 15 miles from Coffee Creek, about 11.4 miles from Trinity Center. Out towards Covington Mill, about 6.7 miles. And for Trinity Alps Resort, it's actually moved about a mile closer over the last day and a half. Here you can see the deep fire. The south end, of course, the same fire. You can see it's about 11.4 miles from Weaverville, Junction City about 13.3, and Helena about 13.7 miles. Now let's take you off into Del Norte County, where you actually do have the Smith River Complex right here. Now you've got several little fires and of course some bigger fires, all part as one complex. So I've basically taken the fire closest to each of these communities and I've measured that distance. So for example, we've got 6.4 for Gasquet, 10.6 for Hiuchi, about 15.8 for Crescent City, and Smith River, about 6.1 miles from your closest fire. Meanwhile, we've also got this fire, which has really grown significantly since it started, now at 1.3 miles from Idlewild. We take you to the SRF Bluff Complex from Orleans, about 7.9. Now, I know that there is a fire to the east of Orleans that is closer, but there is no official fire perimeter for that yet. So I can't give you the distance from that fire perimeter. And I don't want to make an estimation as far as where that fire is to give you a really false reading on just how far it is from you. That's why I like to use these perimeters, because that's an official fire perimeter and GPS coordinates are pretty good on that. And on top of that, this is a good measuring tool to give you that general idea. All right, so that's why I can't give you anything if we don't have an official fire perimeter. There's a look at the Lone Pine Fire. It has also grown a little bit here, now about 4.4 miles from Willow Creek and about 2.5 miles from Hoopa. To the south of that, just got to take a breath here. I mean, because there's just so much to talk about. Here's the Pilot Fire, 5.5 miles from High and Palm, 12.4 from Mad River. We take you to Dinsmore, about 9.5 miles. Let's take you off to the west here. This is the Lost Fire, pretty close to the coast here. Johnson's about 5.2 miles. Now from Berry Glen, 2.8, 4.4 from Orick. Here you can see that camp resort right here. I probably should have given you an idea. It looks like based on this number, maybe about 3.5 miles. But you get the idea. This is the Lost Fire and some of the distances there. Let's talk about the smoke. And really overall, the smoke is staying within the vicinity of the fires. We're seeing it kind of stray throughout the day, kind of some of the outer perimeters. You can see a little plume of smoke heading down to the south and east of us. But then by Monday morning, tomorrow morning, most of the smoke is pretty much right on top of where the fires are. So here's the deal. Let's kind of break away from the fires. Now let's start talking about rain and chances for thunderstorms. And of course, one of the reasons for that is Hurricane Hillary, right? So we're getting the remnants from Hurricane Hillary, and more in particular, the moisture associated with that. And that's going to bring us some much needed rainfall. And it could spell out for some good rainfall instead of just thunderstorms. And then a much cooler and less thunderstorm activity for next week. So for today, we're going to be looking at chances for showers, maybe some thunderstorms inland later this afternoon. And for the coast, some showers developing later on this afternoon and not to mention this evening. We take a look at Trinity County, maybe some showers this morning, maybe some isolated thunderstorms. Temperatures only in the mid to upper 80s for those daytime highs. All right, so here's a look at Futurecast. As we take you into this afternoon, we do have the chances for showers beginning to kind of kick on in, okay? And then we go into Monday morning at 8 a.m. We've got the next shot of moisture coming in from Hillary. This is going to bring us a better shot for some rain here come Monday morning. Maybe some embedded thunderstorms in there as well, and some heavier rainfall at times through the day on Monday. So through the day on Monday, there will be some brief periods of heavy rainfall, especially out in Trinity County, western Siskiyou County, and there could be some thunderstorms embedded in there. 5 p.m. Monday, now most of the activity is off to the east, and it begins to really break apart by Monday night. Now the thing about Tuesday is there's not going to be a lot of rain, but there's still going to most likely be some leftover moisture. And we could see some afternoon thunderstorms develop on Tuesday. Maybe one last day of the potential for thunderstorms, and then it's gone. I don't anticipate any more thunderstorms after that. First push of moisture is today. The second bigger push of moisture is going to be on Monday with about a ½ an inch to over an inch in some spots for the eastern mountains. And in general, you start to see less and less rain as you start heading off to the west. All right, so let's take a look at Hurricane Hillary and its impacts that it will have on the Baja Peninsula and Southern California. So here you can see the winds will be strongest with the center of the storm. That's pretty typical. And as you start kind of panning out on either side of it, the winds aren't as strong, but very strong winds nonetheless. And we're going to be hearing there's going to be wind damage in the Baja Peninsula, and there's going to be wind damage in Southern California. But it's not just the winds we've got to be concerned about. We've got to be concerned about the rain and the heavy rainfall associated with that. So again, the heaviest rainfall will be kind of at the center of the storm. As you start going on either side of the storm, you start seeing less and less rain, but still some very heavy rainfall in these areas of green. We're going to be talking about upwards of 6 inches plus. You see these reds here, that's 6 inches. As you start getting into the purples and the whites, that's over 6 inches of rainfall. So that's a lot of rain. That's going to be some flash flooding. There's going to be the potential for mudslides and debris flows for many areas. So there's going to be kind of a historical event, quite honestly, with the amount of rainfall. But it's not just the rain. There is going to be some high surf along the coast, so there could be some coastal flooding due to the high surf as well. So a lot of aspects with this when we're talking about hurricanes, obviously. And it's not very common for us to see hurricanes head this far north, not to mention just tropical storm associated with that. But the wave heights are going to be fairly high for us here in Northern California, between 9 and even upwards of 13 feet as we take you into Monday, especially as we go into tonight and into Monday morning. So here's your marine forecast for today. Winds from the northwest at 5 knots. Your waves from the northwest at 8 feet at 9 seconds. Your low tide at 8:53 this morning, and your high tide at 3:39 this afternoon. There will be some patchy smoke out there, by the way. All right, so here's what we have in store for your Sunday. Showers, maybe some thunderstorms for Trinity County. For the inland areas of Del Norte and Humboldt counties, maybe some showers and thunderstorms, and some showers here for the coast as well. So we do have some rain in the forecast for everyone. Not to mention on Monday as well, especially for Hoopa and Weaverville, and unfortunately we could see some more thunderstorms. Now, as I mentioned, there may be some leftover moisture on Tuesday, producing a chance for a few showers or even thunderstorms on Tuesday. But after that, we're done. We're done with the lightning strikes, and it's going to be mainly sunny and mild too, only reaching highs in the low to mid 90s. Mild, at least for our standard, especially from what we saw last week. Here's a look at your 7-day outlook for Eureka. Now, I've got your chances for showers today and tomorrow. Remember I showed you the rain on Monday. It looks like the rain is going to stop right around Del Norte County, so I don't anticipate any rain for Crescent City, but we could see more rain on Monday for Eureka. And then, of course, we're talking about drier conditions with temperatures in the mid to upper 60s for Tuesday through the end of next week and into that next weekend.